convenience, this will be recorded, so you can access the recording probably about tomorrow on our website. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Doug.
Thanks, Zach, and thanks everyone for sharing part of your morning or part of your evening with us, depending where you are in the world. Real quick, why are you here? Well, it's because we invited everyone who basically owned iMerge, our Merge product, iEmail, our Outlook add-in, iMove for those of you in the States, which is the National Change of Address product. The easiest to use importing products out there, Activity Importer Plus and iImport. Our geolocation tool, IMAP, our fundraising made easy, FREs for editing GIFs, our online donation product, page filter for changing your public view or RISE sites for making changes that the product just doesn't allow yet. iDocument, our newest product for documenting your database, and then most probably because you already own Meeting Closer. So this, session is for the 200 organizations that have put their trust in Meeting Closer. We started writing Meeting Closer way back when. It's our second oldest product, and we're currently gone all the way up to version 4.2.22, 2.3 coming out tomorrow actually. And all of these enhancements that we've done, all the cool things I'm going to show you in the next 28 minutes, we're from your suggestions and your requests for making the product better and whatnot. We couldn't have done it without you, is the short story. Thank you so much for everything you do for us in terms of great ideas and pushing us to make the product better. As I said, this is primarily for Meeting Closer customers. The idea behind these sessions, these webinars that we've been doing, came about when I was at a client and they were asking me some questions about how to do some things, and I said, but you already have Meeting Closer and you already have iMerge and you already have iEmail, and basically they hadn't upgraded in several years, and they didn't know about all the great features we had added. So we thought it'd be a good idea to cover basically how to use the product, what have we added and whatnot. So our agenda is going to be a little bit about the history of the Meeting Closer. Why did we create it and how do we create it? I'm going to take you through a couple day in the life of a Meeting Closer user. I'm going to show you how we see people using the product today, and I'm hoping that kind of gives you, wow, that's a really cool thing. I didn't know that. That's new to me, and I didn't know, that was out there. So that's the concept here. If you see something you liked, we're going to show you how to get the latest release. And we're going to show you how to get help if you get stuck. And then we're going to turn it, like Zach said, over to some Q&A. So as I'm cruising along here, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them right in GoToMeeting, and Zach's going to read them off at the end, and we'll go from there. Okay. So why and how do we create Meeting Closer? Well, ultimately, our customers needed a way to close events and expos and not lose the underlying data in iMIS. They also needed a way, excuse me, to clean up the open events and or expo window. They wanted to hide events. They needed a way to reopen closed events too, because sometimes you close an event and that was a mistake, or as you'll see in what's going to come up in the next couple minutes, that maybe I need to add some additional CMEs or CEUs. So we enhanced the product to do that as well. And we made it so that when those CEUs or CMEs or CPEs, when they're created with the data, the function, the ending date, if you will, and we allow you to create those multiple times, and I'll show you that in a minute. So how do we do it? Well, we mimicked the iMIS code. And we said, well, let's clean up the iMIS. Let's clean up iMIS so you don't see closed events. So let's make it optional too. Let's make it so that you can move data from MeetMaster, and that's the main screen in iMIS. Let's be able to hide that and move it to a backup table. And then we said, well, let's create a union view, and let's tie the existing iMIS data and the backed up data together. So if you have a custom report, it'll work. And I've sort of hinted several times at this, but when you close an event in iMIS, it creates the CEUs and the or CMEs or CPEs, whatever you might call them. I'm going to call them CEUs from now on. It creates them at the date the event was closed, and that's not really legit. The event, when you get those credits, should be the day you finish the course. not the day the event is closed. We support both, but we think most people are going to want it to use the date the event was, the date the function finished. So let's walk you through a day in the life, right? We have a NIOG San Antonio. San Antonio is a city here in Texas, in the States, in Texas, the state of Texas, sorry. And it's over. We had the event last week, and we need to close it, and we need to generate some activities. And I'd like an activity for the event itself, and I'd like an activity for certain functions. Probably our full-day crystal training, our SSRS training, the tour of the Alamo, and I've got some CEUs. There was a final exam for the SSRS training, and I need to create those CEUs. So let's do it, and let's do it fast. It's a theme that we have with our products here. You should be able to use them. They should work very quick. They really should work without a manual. They should be intuitive and all of those fun things. So let's begin. I don't think I have Meeting Closer running here, and you can see right down there I don't. So I'm going to start it up. The simplest way is just type in Meeting Closer, and it's going to go right to it. I'm going to log in. I'm going to also, I should close my email, but that's okay, we'll do that later. Now what I'm going to do is, I've got all my events here. They look good. Let's go look at them in iMIS though, okay? So I've got iMIS running here, and I'm going to go over to events. And let's look at my event that I'm going to be closing. I want to close the NIOG San Antonio, our 13th annual one, right? So let's open that one up. Here's our event. It was comprised of a main registration, some full-day crystal training, SSRS, and the tour. Let's jump into the SSRS training because that had some CEUs on it, okay? And we're going to update the attendance. And Terry Boone, she actually got 2 credits, and Marcy Farmhaven got 2 credits. I haven't got the results yet for John Colby, or Ellen Ellis, or Doug Hunt. They haven't come in yet, but boy, these 2 really want to get their credits right now. So let's go ahead and close this event. We can see right now it exists in iMIS. We're going to jump right into Meeting Closer. There it is, the 13th annual conference. I'm going to spend a minute here and show you a couple other things. Remember, in Meeting Closer, you can close multiple events at once. You can highlight multiple events and close them. I'm just going to do one right now. And I want to generate meeting activity, function activity. I want to generate speaker activity. I want to hide that event from iMIS. I don't want to see it anymore. I do want my CEUs, and I do want to use the meeting or function end date for my CEUs. Meeting Closer is going to take the end date of the function for the CEUs. If you forgot to put that in, it's going to take the end date for the meeting. If for some reason you forgot that, then it will default to today's date. As I mentioned, I really don't need a function for everything. I do want a function created, an activity, I'm sorry. I do want an activity created for full-day crystal training. I really would like one for the SSRS training. I'd like to know who went on the tour, but I don't need an activity for the main registration function. I'm going to get that already from the event activity. So that's good. Notice I can deselect them up here just by hitting exclude, or I could include the main registration. And this is something we added not too long ago. In iMIS, I can define a function whether an activity should be created for it or not. So I can just click this checkbox. It will read iMIS, and any function that is set up in iMIS to have an activity created for it, see what I'm talking about here, right here, if that create detail activity is checked on these functions, and you can see it is checked on the SSRS, you saw it was checked on the Crystal, it's also checked on the Alamo Tour, and it's not checked on main registration. So when I am in Meeting Closer, if I click that, it's going to read from iMIS, and you can see it's actually gone and done that. If I say no, I want to select my own, I can uncheck that, and it's going to move everything up to included. So that'll make it read from iMIS. Okay, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and close hide the meeting. Notice we call it closing and hiding, and/or hiding. It's done. Life is good. Let's go back in iMIS. Watch what happens when I refresh the screen. It's hidden the event. Good. Let's go look at Marcy's record. Terry Boone. We're going to look at Terry Boone. Terry has some activities hopefully now. And she does. Here's the function activity for the Alamo tour. And then here's the CEU activity that we created automatically, final exam. That looks great. Here's the event activity that we wanted to create, the meeting, just like iMIS would. And then here's the function activity. You can another function activity out here. The amount they paid, the quantity order, and if you're using fundraising, the fair market value. So that's a quick down and dirty way for creating my CEUs and doing all of that fun stuff. Let's go back. So good news. Doug Hunt just sent in his final exam, all right? We need to go and update his SSRS. Actually, Doug Hunt and one other person did it. We're going to go update their attendance, and we're going to reclose the event. So what you would do is you would jump out there and do this. Turn the event on again, show it, update the attendance, reclose the event, right? So let's do it. Let's do it fast. All right, here we go. Back into iMIS, I would go over here to events. I would hit define an event, and I would see that it's missing. Uh-oh. So I would jump right back into meeting closer, go down here, say show that event. We call it for cloning because that's what you might be doing. Back here, define an event. There it is. It's back. Double click. Back down to our SSRS training. Back down to more and hit CEU. We're going to update the attendance. We are going to mark Doug as attended. And let's do John Colby. So these two individuals have sent in their attendance. Looks great. I should add meeting closer only adds new activities. It will never edit an activity. So one of the things meeting closer is not going to support is you going in here, updating attendance, and marking Terry as not attended. If you've already created the CEU activities, it's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to go and adjust it. So once an activity is created, meeting closer leaves it alone. All right. So I've done that. I've updated my attendance. Everything showed. Back to meeting closer. Close hide meeting. Yes, it's done. Over to Doug Hunt's record now. We can see he has the CEUs added to it. So that fast, created, reopened the event, showed it again, did everything I needed to do in terms of creating that. Now, a year's passed. Well, hold on. Let's go back to our presentation, right? Okay. So that was cool. What else happens? A year's gone by. It's time to have our 14th annual NIAG event, but we forgot to clone 13. So let's show the event for cloning, clone it, and then reclose the event. So what happens in the real world? Person goes out here to clone the event. They go to events. They hit define event. They start screaming because their event is gone. That's okay. Nothing is lost with meeting closer. Back into meeting closer, show that event for cloning. Back into iMIS, define an event. There it is. Great. I can clone that meeting now. Say NIAG 14. There it is. It's out there. NIAG 14. I would now go edit it. I can jump right back into meeting closer, and I can immediately get rid of it again. So it's that quick to make a meeting reappear and then disappear. Very powerful. Okay. So there's a day in the life. There's 3 aspects that we see people doing with meeting closer. All right. So what's new? What have we added? Well, you might have noticed we've added a revised user interface. That ability to create activities, new activities over and over again, that's new as well. Before meeting closer only created activities the first time you closed it. I'm able with meeting closer now to go in if someone was registered for a function, if someone attended a function but forgot to pay for it, I can reopen the meeting, add them to that, and reclose the meeting, and it will generate any new functions that they've signed up for. So you can be closing a meeting over and over again now, and anything new added to it will be updated. But things that have changed will not be. So remember, it's only adding new things. You might have noticed, and I went kind of quick, but we added a bunch of the ability. You saw that where, before I move on, we added the ability for reading iMIS for the create activity detail option. That's when I'm going to go and decide which function should have an activity created. So I've added that as well. we added the event type filtering option. I didn't cover that too much, but in Meeting Closer, notice I can go out here and show the different types. I can say show active only. And then here's a real powerful thing. If you've got to close a bunch of events, notice I can actually go look for a certain meeting code, or I can search by title, or maybe I just want to close all events in the last year. I could actually filter by date here. Once I apply my filter, it happens up here. It changes everything. If I want to get rid of my filter, just hit disable filter and it turns it all off. So a lot of filtering abilities primarily for finding a certain event that you might want to close or finding a whole bunch of events you might want to close. When you install Meeting Closer for the first time or after you haven't used it for a while and we've created some new functions or features in it, it's going to ask for your SA password. That's a problem in a hosted environment, and so we've enhanced all of our products to no longer require the SA username and password. It will require an equivalent, and if that doesn't make any sense to you, your IT folks will know what that means. But long story short, the use of an SA user is kind of bad these days, so we've enhanced all our products to no longer require it. Another cool thing we've done is our product now self-licenses. What that means is when you go to install Meeting Closer, the new version of Meeting Closer, and you're doing it Monday morning in Sydney or Melbourne, and nobody is here at CSI and you lost your license key, that's okay. It's going to call back to CSI, confirm that you're licensed for the product, and automatically license you. So you do not need to say, I lost my license key, or we just put a new server in and I don't have my license key. The licensing is automatic. So that's a huge benefit for those of you who are on a different time zone, who might be 12 hours off or 9 hours off from us, and we're not around and there's no one to call. So a couple things that we'd like you to remember. Never reuse an event or meeting code. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm in iMIS. Notice NIOG SA13 is missing. I do not want to create a new event for NIOG SA13. We don't know how people do that because watch what happens when I do that. NIOG 13, we'll make it A. I'll just leave it this way. Watch what happens. The minute I hit save, everything automatically appears. It's pulled in because remember, nothing has been deleted from iMIS. So we still have people doing this. If you do this on accident, stop right then and there because we can help you out. What happens is Meeting Closer doesn't know what's the active event, what not. And so the minute you notice that, call us. Right now, we have a script to help you out. In a future version of Meeting Closer, I believe it's due this month, it will walk you through cleaning up the mess you just created. And if you can do that before you start registering people, that's very powerful. So do not reuse an event code. This is only an issue if you're hiding your events. When you go into Meeting Closer, if it detects you do have a duplicate event, it's going to tell you that right now. And basically say, contact your solution provider or CSI to fix the issue. As I mentioned, this month we're going to actually build into Meeting Closer how to fix that automatically for you. But as I said, the minute you do it, you should see right away. Notice I typed that in. I didn't type anything else. I hit save. All my functions appeared, all my registrants. Right then and there, you should stop. You should stop using duplicate meeting codes. A couple other things. Your purge script. If you have a purge script in iMIS and you're running the main purge script, you do want to update it because there's some interesting things you want to do for those hidden events, and we have that documented in our manual. If you do hide the meeting, as I've shown you multiple times during this demo, you're not going to be able to run the reports in iMIS. You can run your custom reports, but the ones in iMIS are not going to work. And so if you look at the manual, we're going to give you some tips on modifying your reports so that you can report on both open and closed events. None of this matters if you're not hiding the event. So both of these come into play if you are hiding the event. What happens is we're cleaning up that screen in iMIS, and we're making it a little bit harder for iMIS to realize what's going on. Okay, activity flowdown. A lot of people don't even know what this is. It's built into iMIS, and it's the ability to take something from your event and write it to the meeting activity. iMIS doesn't care if you set it up wrong. It's going to totally ignore it. If you do something bad, it ignores it. Meeting Closer says, I'm not going to close your meeting because you got to fix this. So it's going to notify you and tell you you need to fix this. What am I talking about? In iMIS, under Event System Preferences, these are the activity fields. In this case, I've told it that in the activity date field, I want to put the order number. That won't work. Order number is a numeric, and it will not fit in a date time field. So when you try and close the meeting, Meeting Closer is going to tell you, I can't do that. You need to move this to one of these number fields. Another example is this. You've gone out there and said, I'd like to take what's in major key and write it to the activity. You can't do that. The only thing you can move over are fields from Meet Master, Order Meet, and Orders. And that's going to take something. So what a good example is here's using orders, order number. You can put that on the activity in iMIS, but it has to map to a numeric field. I hope that makes sense to everyone. Another thing, if you are going to put the latest version of Meeting Closer on, you have to be on SQL 2005 or higher. If you're not, we can give you the latest release of version 3. Please remember, if you're still running SQL 2005, you might need to check your SQL Server. The releases of iMIS way back when that supported SQL 2005 often would drop it into SQL 2000 compatibility mode. If you're on iMIS 15, you don't have to worry about that. It's only an issue if you're on 10.6 or earlier. So if you're on 10.6 and your database is in SQL 2000 compatibility mode, Meeting Closer will not. Meeting Closer 4 will not run as well. So if I showed something cool and you really like it, you want to get the latest release. The latest release today is 4.2.22. Please hold off at least one day because we have a new release coming out sometime tomorrow. But to find out your current release, on your login screen you're going to see it, and on Help About, and you will see what release you're on. Notice if your login screen does not look pretty and blue like this, you are not on the latest release. So we've updated our login screens. They're now nice and blue and pretty. If you want to get that latest release, go to our website and then click on Login. Heads up, we are changing our website in about a month too. So once you click on Login, you're going to want to go ahead and log in. You might have lost your login to our website, in which case go ahead and just email sales@csiinc.com and say, I lost the login to the CSI website. If you are using an old release of Meeting Closer that doesn't self-license, you can also ask for your product key at the same time. Once you log in, scroll down to Current Releases, and you're going to see every CSI product that you own and are current on your maintenance for. There's a download link down there as well, and we also put the manual out there. So if you're on Meeting Closer 4.2.20 and you want to know if it's worth upgrading to .22 or 2.3, you can click on that documentation link and look at our release notes, and it'll tell you what we fixed. Maybe it doesn't apply to you, maybe it does, but we're always going to tell you what's out there and why to, and how to get it. Okay? Once you click download, you're going to click on it. It's a zip file. It's going to open it up, and it's going to look just like this. And you want to save these files out on your network or your PC. I like to save them in an erase me directory. It's a directory I have on my machine. It is a directory that allows me to know that anything in there can be deleted anytime I want. And so that's where I save my stuff. Once it's out there, here's the biggest tip of the entire webinar. Right mouse click on it and run as administrator. Very important, okay? That is going to make sure Meeting Closer installs with all the proper privileges, especially if you're installing it on a terminal server. Remember, we don't care how many times you install Meeting Closer, and we don't care how many machines you install it on. Put it on everyone's machine if you want. We don't care. Just make sure you install it as administrator. So when you run that setup, run it as administrator. You should have no issues with it. An end user can do it. As I mentioned before, if this is the first time you're installing it or you haven't upgraded in a long while, it may prompt for your SA or your SA equivalent username and password. That means it needs to update your database, and you're going to need that. If what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, don't worry about it. Your IT person or your solution provider can help you with that. So if it pops up and says, I need your SA or SA equivalent password, just stop and ask them to help you out and type that information in. If you get stuck, please read the manual. We have a full-time QA and documentation person here. Brooke spends a lot of time keeping the manuals up to date. She even goes so far as to make sure the font is perfect. But if you're still stuck, email us at support@csiinc.com. And if you could please include as much information as you can give us about the problem, especially a screenshot. That is a million words to us. A last-minute tip is we have this new little thing in Meeting Closer called Report Runtime Errors. That's going to send information about the error to us here at CSI. And if you have that on and you send us an email at support@csiinc.com with a screenshot of what went wrong and information about, hey, I was trying to close an event, and I did this, this, and this, and I clicked these checkboxes, and it errored out, and I have the runtime errors on, then in about 2 business days, we're going to get back to you. Today, it's running about 1, but we try and finish everything within 2 business days, and we're going to get back to you with some help. If you send us an email that says, Meeting Closer didn't work for me, then within 2 business days, we're going to get back to you and say, could you please send us more information? Could you please give us a screenshot? Could you please turn on error reporting? So the more information you can give us, the faster we can solve your issue. Silly questions. You got a great idea for an enhancement? Email us at support@csiinc.com. We review enhancement requests every month. If they're asked by more than one customer, if they make sense, if people want them, that's how our products get better. So we want to hear from you. Are we going to have more events like this? Say you own iEmail or iMerge? Yes, we are. If you go to our webinar page, you will find all of our upcoming webinars. What about the ones we already had? Same page. You can go right there and look at all of the other webinars we've had. We're doing these about every other week, and we're covering every one of our products. And when we're done, we're just starting over and repeating. If you want to see Meeting Closer from the full sales standpoint, then just go to csiinc.com/Meeting Closer or our webinars page. Meeting Closer link is going to have all the information about Meeting Closer as well as kind of a salesy demo, if you will, telling you more about what it does. So I'm turning it over to questions right now. If anybody has any questions, you've hopefully been typing them in, and Zach's going to read them off to me.
So far we've got one. While the event is open, a participant can download their invoice via access to our website. Once closed, whether by iMIS or Meeting Closer, this is removed. How are organizations managing the financials attached to an event or meeting?
That is an interesting question. I guess I would need to know a little bit more about how they're downloading the invoice. The existing accounts receivable, the amount owed, should still be there whether Meeting Closer is been used or not. Are you using RISE for that, or are you using, say, the ATS Online Marketplace? So if you can answer that, and we'll go to the next question while we're waiting for that one.
The next question is, they've just purchased Meeting Closer, and how do we install this on multiple computers?
So you would just download it, and once it's downloaded, you could save it out to your server, and then once saved out to your server, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. In this case, I might have saved it out to Software CSI Meeting Closer, and in this case, you'll see there's my folder. You would just go to each computer, right mouse click, run as administrator, and just do that on each computer, and that's all you need to do. And like I said, we don't mind it. Install it on all your computers, install your terminal center, and go ahead. Any other questions, Zach?
The follow-up from the original question, she's not sure exactly, but could you provide a general response for either option?
I wasn't aware of RISE being able to show invoices. I know that ATS can, and it would be a very simple modification to allow you to be able to download the invoice because the data has not been removed. We've just hidden some event data in iMIS. And so the other thing that I will say that you can do, remember when you're closing a meeting in Meeting Closer, when you're closing a meeting in Meeting Closer, you can, if you want, just uncheck this Move to Hidden Meetings. If that is unchecked, then they will be able to do whatever you want in terms of, they will be able to still run the invoices. You won't get the cleanup of the window, but you will get the, in terms of iMIS, it'll still show in iMIS, but all of your invoices will work even if you closed in Meeting Closer. So the workaround is to not hide the event here. Don't move to hidden meetings. Leave them out there. If you do move to hidden meetings, you're going to make a slight change to either RISE or the other one. And I'll put my email address up on the screen. If you want to send me more info afterwards, that would be good.
Comment, there's a thought that if it's iMIS 20.2 and up, the newest version of iMIS allows invoice downloading from profile pages of RISE.
Cool. So I'll test that and see what's going on there with Meeting Closer, and if we can find a workaround for that for hidden meetings, we will do that. It is only the Meet Master view that we're hiding from, and as I said, the quick workaround is to just not hide the event. When we wrote Meeting Closer, I thought everyone would want to hide their events from iMIS. It turns out less than 50% of the customers do it. And so at someday we may tell people to just stop hiding the event because, as I said, that allows you to create duplicate issues. It breaks your reporting in iMIS. So if you don't hide the event, that will solve your challenges for now.
Here's another one. You mentioned reporting not available for hidden meetings. Can you expand on that? And will that affect dashboard data as well?
What I can say on that is that when I am in iMIS here and I go over to generate reports, these reports on the event are going to want to see the data in Meet Master. Not the print invoices, of course, but the meeting reports and stuff like this. They're going to want to see the data in Meet Master. If that data has been removed, and remember, it's actually not been removed, it's been moved, if you will, then those reports aren't going to work because they're going to say, well, there is no meeting called NIOG SA 13, even though there is, and even though that data exists. So in terms of your dashboards, in terms of any of the other reports, we show you in the manual how to use a view that we include called Meet Master View. And from there, you could go ahead and adjust your dashboards and or reports for Meeting Closer, if that makes any sense.
Cool. All right.
There's my email if you have any questions. You can, of course, email me after this. Also, sales@csinc.com is another powerful email because that also goes to Zach, and he stays up a lot later than me these days. So if you have any additional questions or you want some more clarification on some of the stuff I was saying, feel free to email me or reach out, and we'll go from there. Any other questions,
right.
Zach?
Well, thanks, everybody. No, it looks like it. So thanks, everybody, for taking time out of your day or night, and look forward to seeing you on some of our future webinars.
Thanks, everyone.